Welcome back to Brands Hatch. Don't forget, if you're a cricket fan, it's the second T20. It's between Sri Lanka and Australia. That's tomorrow at 2:20 in the afternoon, and you can see that on British Eurosport 2. Well, still here at the end of pit lane, we're about to get underway with the third British Superbikes race of the day here. Third British Superbike race of the weekend, second British Superbike race of the day here at Brands Hatch. And the guys are going out to form up and everything, so we've got a few minutes in hand. Leon Haslam is still with me here. Leon, let's talk about Ryuichi Kiyanari and HM Plant Honda, because the defending champion is having a rough old time of it. And Javier Beltran, the team manager, said, you know, they've had a serious talk with him, and you can only imagine what that is from our point of view. But from your point of view, you've been in there. What will that entail?
Yeah, you know, it's real tough. There's no doubt that Kyo is an unbelievable natural talent. You know, he just gone and won the Suzuka 8 Hour, where, you know, I was over there a few years ago and he was lapping 2 seconds a lap quicker than me. And, you know, the week after in BSB, you know, he struggles to finish in the top 10. So, you know, it's a very much a confident sport, bike racing. And, you know, Kyo's not happy, he's not confident. And, you know, when he is, he's one of the fastest guys out there. And when he's not, he's obviously having a bad time of it, which, you know, he's not riding any worse, but you can see that he's not happy.
He's now susceptible to attack in the top 6. He's in the 6th place position. Josh Brooks has now leapfrogged him this weekend overall. If he's not in that top 6 when we get out of Cadwell Park, he doesn't go in for the showdown, so the title is effectively over for him. How much of a concern will that be for him at this stage? You
know, for sure it's in the back of his mind, and that might be the problem. You know, he doesn't need to think about it too much. You know, he's a very, very fast natural rider, so, you know, the pressures need to be took away from him, you know, by his team or his, you know, whoever it needs to be, and he just needs to ride the bike. You know, he's got the package with the Honda, and Shakey's proving that, so, you know, he just needs to go out there and just do what he knows, basically.
Now, we just saw some footage, that was earlier on, of you talking to Kyo. You went in there and had a bit of a chat with him. What were you saying to him?
No, you know, me and Kyo had some fantastic battles over the year, and, you know, still remain good friends. So, you know, just chatting away, and, you know, he just said he's struggling with one thing or another, and, you know, he looks like he's struggling on corner entry. You know, it's quite easy to see that he's not too happy or confident with one thing or another. So, you know, just having a bit of a chat with him, and hopefully he can turn it around.
Try to psych him up a little bit for this next race. Will that be a fair assumption?
Yeah, you know, to go out there and do what he did at the 8 Hour, you know, he's definitely still got the talent, so, you know, he just needs to relax and enjoy himself.
What do you put it down to? Because it seems to be a recurring thing with Kyo. We were expecting him to come back from Suzuka and have pressed the switch, you know, and just raise his game like he has done in the past. But what do you put it down to, personally?
You know, for me, it's all about confidence, and it's all about being happy. And, you know, if you're not happy and you're not confident, then, you know, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen for you. Little crashes, little moments, and it's an ongoing effect. And, you know, Kyo's there right now, and, you know, every racer goes through it. I've been through it, and it's how you come through it and learn from it, you know, so it doesn't happen again. And it's maintaining that confidence and you know, the belief in yourself to push through it.
And that much harder when your teammate has just won the race and looks so happy up front.
Yeah, it is hard, you know, for sure. You always want to beat your teammate, and Shakey's on top form right now. So, you know, when things aren't going right for you and your teammate's doing really good, it's definitely doesn't help the confidence.
No, we'll pause it right there, Leon. Just stay with us for the moment, because time to go over to the grid. You can probably hear the bikes going out and forming up on the grid. James Whittam is over there, so Whit, it's all yours.
Yeah, I'm actually with Paul Bird further up the pit lane. Paul, team principal with the factory Kawasaki squad in World Superbike. You're taking time out from your world champ. Get rid of your chewing gum there, lad. To come to BSB at Brands. It really worked for you last year with Tom Sykes taking 2 out of the 3 wins. Not working just quite so well. The weather's played against you a little bit this weekend.
Yeah, well, we knew it was going to be tough this weekend. You remember, it's the best national championship in the world. But we have a brand new bike, and every track we take it to, we get lots of different scenarios. So it was important for us to come here and, you know, get and throw another scenario into situation and see how we cope with it. It's proving quite a difficult bike to set up at certain circuits. So hey ho.
A little bit of a well, interesting but unlucky weekend at Silverstone for you. Tom Sykes looking good, as he usually does, to be honest. He's starting to get to grips with the bike, and then a horrendous crash for him in going towards the end of qualifying.
Yeah, that's right. Disappointing, especially with Tom being at his home race and our home race as well. But yeah, I think he's very lucky to get away with a broken ankle that he's got. But he'll be back for Nürburgring, and sure will be bouncing back.
You're probably best placed to give us a bit of an heads up on the actual level we're at BSB now. You're more used to the World Championship. You come here with a full factory team, fantastic bikes, and what's that level-wise and depth of field? What do you see British Championship as now?
Yeah, but you've got, you know, top level teams in British Superbikes. You know, we went from here running towards the front, and and straight into World, we fit straight into World Superbikes. You know, you got the Yamahas, their factory bikes, you know, fly-by-wire throttles, and you know, Honda always turned a good motorcycle out. The Suzuki's, they ran well at Silverstone last week. You know, a lot of top-level riders and top-level teams here. You know, that's why we're here. You know, we knew it was going to be tough and put the riders up to be shot at. You know, they're there to ride motorbikes and they get paid top dollar to ride in World Superbikes. So let them have it. Let them get stuck in. I don't mind the British boys duffing them up.
Paul, good luck this time, mate.
Cheers, thank you.
Tony, back to you.
Well, there we go then, James. Yeah, sorry about that. I thought James was on the grid, but he was just further down pit lane. But he'll be on the grid momentarily. Leon, you can hear what James was saying there to Paul Bird, but it's quite refreshing to hear Paul Bird say, look, these are world-class riders. I brought them here, put them up to be shot down, and they need to get out there and get on with it. He's talking about one on the scores and Brock Parks. That's quite refreshing for a team manager to be that honest. Probably not for the riders.
Yeah, you know, for sure. You know, BSB's always been at a strong level. You know, last year Tom Sykes come here and you know, got a couple of wins on the Kawasaki, so for sure Paul's going to be wanting the same out of his two riders now. But you know, Lascaux has not really been here too often, and obviously Brock's been on a 600 all year, so it's a bit of a tall order for them guys, you know, and especially with the BSB being so strong this year.
Yeah, like you say, with Tommy Hill on pole, Shane Burns second, John Hopkins third, Michael Laverty fourth. I mean, there's some names there, and they're tough riders to get around here.
Yeah, for sure, and you know, it's they're all fighting for a championship, and they're not going to be wanting no outsiders beating them, so they're definitely not going to give them an easy time.
What do you make of Michael Laverty? Because every time he seems to be getting to grips with it, just something comes along and sort of knocks him back very slightly. And Michael Laverty is a class rider, as indeed all the Lavertys are.
Yeah, for sure. You know, Michael's a top rider, and you know, it's only little things in this sport that make a big difference. And you know, doesn't seem to be getting off the line all that well, or makes a couple of mistakes early on. But you know, as you saw in that first race, he come through and caught the guys up, and you know, it was just a little bit of bad luck. Looks like he's struggling to overtake compared to the others, but he's definitely got the pace. So hopefully, he can get a better start this race and get away with them.
Whatever's causing his problems to overtake, it's not aggression. We know that of the Lavertys. They are as hard as they come out there, hard as a bag of nails. Right, James Whittam has made his way out to the grid. So, Whit, for the second time of asking, it's over to you.
Yeah, cheers, Tony. Well, you've got Leon Haslam over there. I've got Ollie Haslam, and I tell you what, I think I've got the best end of that one, I've got to say. Ollie. Well, you're taller than Leon, actually, I've got to say.
I'm on the slope.
Ollie, you've got some news for us. I know we've known for some time, but I'd like to just say from everybody in BSB, you know everybody in BSB that well. You were in the championship for a long time. Congratulations on the news, which is?
Very much. So we are having a baby. It's down there. We're very excited. We don't know what it is. It's going to be a monkey probably because it's Leon's. But no, I don't know. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. But we're due in December the 9th.
Now listen, this is what I want to ask you. You get a weekend off from racing. I know that Leon's done so much testing this year that it's incredible. He's off every single. 40 days testing. He's never been at home hardly.
No.
And then you get a weekend off. And he asked, see if he can take you down to Brands for a race meet. What's that about?
So excited. We've got loads of friends here. We've got Direct CCTV, which is a massive sponsor for Leon. So we come and see them. They got a box over the start-finish straight. And our whole life's about racing. The baby's got a crash helmet on already. You know, it's just one of those things.
Well, I've seen the picture and it's already got its little thumb up like that, hasn't it?
It has. It's getting the PR stuff ready, media training.
I'd like to thank my mum and my dad. Well, I'll tell you what, Ollie, have a good day. See you in a bit.
Thank you. Bye.
Right, I tell you what, we're looking back at Keogh. Keogh really needs to raise his game, really. Coming back from a win in the Suzuka 8 Hour, you've got to have confidence to win that. That is a tight old race, and he's got to do better this race here. Right, come forward, we'll go forward a little bit. Let's have a word with, I tell you we'll go and have a word with. We'll go and have a word with Graham Garland. Now this man, can I just sneak in here? They've got some kind of cabinetry, like a sideboard thing going on here. Graham, you are punching above your weight, pal.
Yeah, something like that. So far we've had a really good weekend, you know.
I don't mean that for you. I mean, you're on an Evo bike and you're making everybody else on the Evo bikes look a bit pedestrian, to be honest.
Yeah, no, definitely. You know, it's. I mean, it's a big difference. We've got no, electronics at all. But yeah, we're running there. I think out the back we can run high corner speeds and we don't have to rely on the traction control, you know. So yeah, it's working really well.
When you're taking a few scalps there of people that are well known, do you kind of smile when you pass them?
Yeah, I was quite happy, I must admit, especially when you pass a factory Kawasaki, on something that's obviously a lot slower. So
you know what the telling thing is, your teammate Glenn Richards, who I've got to say is the most universally respected man in the paddock. He's been around a long time, ridden everything, does everything at a good level, even at the ages that are now like 38 or 39. And I said to me, you out-qualified him by some considerable amount. And I said, how's he getting it round? He says, mate, I don't know, he's riding the wheels off the thing.
Yeah, no, I am. I'm back to full fitness now, so I'm just, like you say, riding the wheels off the thing, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the bike and the team. Everything's working really well.
Graham, good luck, mate.
Brilliant, thank you.
Right, we're going to go forward, one or two. You can get your sideboard back into position there now. I've ruined your feng shui or whatever it is you've got going on. Right, we're going to go forward again. Let's have a look. And we're going to have a word with... Let's have a look. We're going to have a word with Mr. Rutter, I think. I know I talk to Mr. Rutter a lot, but he's a good mate. He can always guarantee he's going to say something fairly philosophical and deep. You were complaining before the start of the race yesterday. It rained a little bit, it was drying out. Clearly you're going to need dry-ish weather tyres on towards the end. It was obviously going to dry out. You went out on slicks. To me, the amazing thing about you is you know what tyres are going to work at the end, but to use those tyres at the end, you've got to still be on your bike. And many people will put slicks on and then fall off in the wet on lap 2.
Yeah, you know, to be honest, it's all a gamble, those conditions. There's been many a time I've got it wrong, so, you know, you do get it right now and again. And we were catching, you know, if we'd have been a full race distance, you know, I think we could have had him, but, well, you know, he did a brilliant move. He got his head down, Josh did, and he went for it, and that was the right thing to do.
Race 2, the race earlier on today, you were looking fairly strong there, just tailed off towards the end. It looked a little bit frustrating towards the end. Don't know whether they didn't have a tyre left, but you looked to have the pace to certainly Rostrom maybe win the race early on, but not towards the end.
Yeah, like I was pushing, you know, I was just keeping with them, and then I thought they started coming back to me, and I thought, oh, I can have a bit of a go at them here, and then you know, I just started losing a bit of grip, and with the Ducati, the traction comes in more and it gets a bit slower, and yeah, we were struggling just for grip. We've done a few changes, put a bit of weight on the rear, and really we've lifted the front up as well, so try and get a bit more grip to the race. So hopefully that's the right way. Well,
it is near the end of the season now, which means everybody who's in the know in the press and everything will start writing you off again and saying you should be retiring. But that's not the case, is it?
Well, you know, you've got to keep going, but you know, still enjoy it. Sometimes.
Have a good one, man.
Thanks, mate.
Right, we're going to go next door because we're going to talk to Josh Brooks. A bit of an up and down weekend, but he came through in a really strong fashion that last one. Where are you going, Brownie? There you go. You got a good view there. Josh, hard work that last time, came off row 4 and went fairly quick and got through, but you're not going to do much from where you started last time, are you?
No, I think we did a pretty good job.
I think you did a really good job.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously 6th isn't what we come out here to do. We want to be on the podium at least, but you know, everyone on equal tyres and fully dry conditions, it's really hard to come through the field, especially from 14th. You know, I mean, so really happy with that race, but now on the second row of the grid, hoping to do better this one.
Yeah, you've got the pace for sure. We saw that. You were lapping just as quick as anybody for the majority of that race, but obviously when you're losing 4 or 5 seconds on the first lap, you're a little bit snookered. Rostrom this time out as a potential?
Absolutely, I'm hoping so, but you know, we're just got to work through the race and make decisions as the race unfolds, and yeah, for sure I'm hoping for a podium.
As relaxed as usual. Good luck, mate.
Thank you.
Right, we're going to tell you what, we're going to go forward because we're going to have a word. And the reason we're going to have a word with Michael Laverty Swan Yamaha is nothing to do with his racing. Can I get a quick word there? Pete Jennings is crew chief there, ex-racer himself, not British champion, but nearly one. Well, how near were you to a British championship? 3rd, 2nd?
Finished right behind Michael in 2002, that was my last year.
You were too old for it by then. Michael, firstly, what is the comedy hat about? I've got to ask you. We've been they dared me to ask you about the hat.
Comedy hat? I think this is quite trendy, but maybe
Well, I am old, and you wouldn't really want to wear what I've been wearing, but what's it about?
Well, I don't have a personal sponsor to fill it, so if anyone wants to come on board, I'll put their logo on it.
I've got an ideal one, the coal board.
Let's do it.
Not such a bad weekend up and down, but you're on the front row, and I'll tell you what, last time out you were looking, I had you a little bit of an outside bet for a win. The way you came through and got on the back of the bunch, was the problem not enough tyre left at the end because you pushed hard early on?
Yeah, I pushed real hard. I think for about 7 or 8 laps I was the fastest guy on track, and I got right to the back of them, and then I run off track at Graham Hill, so lost another 1.5 seconds, caught it back, and then just as Michael Rudder started to lose contact, I got stuck behind him for a couple of laps and lost another couple of seconds. So it was hard work, and then at the end I think I had overworked the tyre, so I'd worked hard all race, and you know, these guys are riding at probably 99% the majority of the race, so I had to ride 100% every lap to take 2 tenths out, 2 tenths out, 2 tenths out, and I was taking out that little bit of time, so it'll be a whole lot easier now from the front row.
Absolutely. The problem is, and what people don't understand is, when you're on this side of the grid, yeah, you're kind of in a line that way with the front row, but it's a long way up, and people don't understand that, do they?
Where I started on the top side, it was 5th row, but it was on the top side, so I got a good run towards the first corner. It's hard pulling out of the dip here, but the bike's been starting good. We've been getting some good starts all weekend, so hopefully we can jump off and well, maybe whole shot it from here. That'd be nice.
Well, starts are easy now, isn't it? It does it all for you, does it not?
No, I do it half manual. Me and Pete, we changed the strategy. We had been using launch control, and then Pete reckoned I could beat the electronics, so we went back to manual starts, and I'm getting better starts doing it manually. So yeah, we should be able to at least hold our position, but hopefully gain a couple.
Well, I've got my 10 bob on a roster for you. No pressure, mind.
That's cool.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Tony, take it away, mate.
Whit, there we go. Thank you very much, Whit. Yes, I am here in pit lane with Nick Morgan, team boss of MSS Colchester Kawasaki, of course. Nick, let's talk about your two riders out on the grid for this race. Alex Lowes, who is in 16th place, and Gary Mason, who is in 7th. Let's start with Alex Lowes. The kid's a little bit frustrating, I think, at the moment, because he's been out there, there's flashes of brilliance, and then it just seems to come off the rails very slightly. Am I being unfair in that assessment?
Yes and no, really. I mean, you know, he is showing flashes of brilliance without a doubt. We've just got to get him. So the hard thing is he's had a couple of tumbles, and it affects your confidence one way or another. You know, even if it isn't in your approach to riding, or when you're riding, you know. And he's just going through a little bit of a stage at the moment. He's trying to get the feel back with the bike. He's been on the 10K Honda for a couple of rounds as well. So there's been some, you know, some turn and fro with different models, and. You know, he's just a little bit lost, but he'll get it back without a doubt. You can see this, like you said this morning, you know, he was fourth quickest, I think, in the warm-up. So, you know, it is there. He just needs a little bit of a nudge.
It's just this sense almost of once the ball gets rolling, once we pick up the ball as it was at Thruxton where he went out for you and put it on pole position, once that happens, he will be away.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that, you know, the hard thing there is he had a fantastic debut. He poled it, our first pole, Kawasaki's first pole for a long, long time. And, you know, there's a lot of pressure put straight on him from, you know, press, media and fans alike. I mean, not in an unkind way, but just, and it just mounts up. And then all of a sudden, you know, then he's on, you know, he's got Ronald 10K on the phone, and it's, you know, there's a lot going on for him. So hopefully now he can sit and focus riding for Kawasaki and BSB and, you know, look for a strong end to the year. And we're behind him 100%.
And we tend to forget that he's only 20 years old, so we should all bear that in mind as well. Now, what about Gary Mason? He's in 7th place on the grid. Yep. Fine podium, brilliant third-place ride yesterday out there. Got a bit emotional, as Gary tends to do, and we love him all the more for it. But your thoughts on Gary Mason?
I mean, Gary's having a really good year. I mean, you know, his position really doesn't show how good a year he's having. You know, he's had a couple of podiums now. Yeah, they have been a little bit of a long time coming, but he's got them, and he's just riding so well. He's full of confidence. You know, race one there, the little tip off, which really wasn't his fault at all. You know, it's just one of those things, and you know, hopefully he'll have a good run in this one as well.
OK, well, just in case you're wondering what's going on with BSB and why they're not off the grid at the moment, that's because we do have a very slight delay, and we're just waiting for the medical helicopter to come in. It's just a few minutes away, and then once that lands, of course, we can get on with the racing. But we don't want to start the racing without the medical helicopter here, just in case. But, Nick, yeah, Gary Mason, strengths this year. You've brought Andrew Pitt in as his crew chief, as his guru. Andrew Pitt, former double World Supersport champion. Are you seeing a change in how things are happening on that side of the garage?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Andrew's fantastic. He's working so well with Gary. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't think he's the best man with a spanner, but he's certainly, you know, he can certainly get into Gary's head, which is what's needed. You know, it's a perfect combination because Andrew's very strong. He's been a world champion, so he knows what it takes, and he's just working with Gary, and he's sitting and they run through the data and they debrief properly, cleanly and precisely, and it's working definitely. You can see a change in Gary. You know, he's very, very positive. Him and Andrew have got a fantastic relationship, and it's given the whole team a little bit of a perk up, really, because he's a good guy, Andrew.
OK, well, stay here because I do want to talk to you again. We're just going to go over to Whit on the grid at the moment, but I do want to talk to you again, especially since it's your birthday. 65 years old, you don't look a day over 70, you really don't, Nick. Let's go back to Whit on the grid.
Just on it, I'm on row 4. Where are we?
I think it's 4.
We're on 4. What are you doing back here, Brock Parks?
Yeah, we've been struggling a little bit this weekend. You know,
not helped by the weather, I've got to say.
Yeah, absolutely. We only had 2 half-an-hour sessions yesterday, and then you know, super pole, and then a wet race, and then straight into the race. So I've come from Supersport, and the steps just a little bit big at the moment.
Yeah, I've got to say, even though you've ridden Superbikes before, you've ridden around this place a lot before, you kind of like the circuit. You've had some mega results around here because we were looking. It's a big step, and also it's quite a competitive championship. You know, there's a good depth of field in there.
Absolutely. You know, the BSB, I knew it was going to be difficult. You know, I got the call up from Birdie quite late after, you know, the last round, and yeah, I just filled in. But to be honest, it's been really a struggle because the bike hasn't been perfect and not enough time on the bike to push it to its limits, and it's been a little bit difficult.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If it's a weak championship, you can go with any old bike and win. If it isn't, any kind of lack of setup time or not just been on the ball, you really suffer for it.
Yeah, when I came here in 2009 and battled for wins, I was riding that bike every weekend, and I knew the bike, I knew what it was capable of, but at the moment, the bike's still, I'm sure, much better than what I can push it at the moment, and unfortunately we just run out of time.
Brock, this is not your normal job. It's a kind of weekend off, so just enjoy it, mate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cheers, Brock. Right, we're going to go right across this way, Mr. Brown, please. We're going to go across because we've got Alex and Sam Laws stood with the afore-interviewed Ollie Haslam. Alex, what's happening? What's going on here? Running off the track. We saw it. We didn't actually see what happened down at Surtees there in race 2, but certainly we saw you rejoining the track.
Yeah, it was 100% my fault. Someone passed me on the bottom straight, and I'd been rushing into that corner, but obviously I didn't realise until someone right in front of me, and I just had to avoid missing them. And you know what that corner's like, it tightens up, and just ran off the track. So that's my fault, but no, I feel I can get a bit of confidence back, so I'm looking for a good run in this one.
Yeah, to be honest, we know that all you need is a little bit of confidence because you can go quick. We've seen you go mega quick. Do you think you've put a little bit... I mean, people around you saying there's no pressure, from where you've come from and the speed with which you've got to where you are, there's got to be no pressure. Nobody expects a lot, but I think you put yourself under a bit of pressure.
Yeah, obviously I put myself under a lot of pressure because I want to do well, but no, I know there's no pressure off all the boys. I'm just going to enjoy it, and hopefully we'll arrive back there soon.
Can you enjoy it when you're not getting the... I mean, I'd never enjoyed it when I wasn't doing it as well as what I thought. You've got to pretend you're enjoying it, but I must admit, if anybody's enjoying it, you guys look like you are.
Oh, yeah, I love riding a bike, whether I'm first or last, but I'm a racer and you don't enjoy it unless you're fast. But now I've got to put that back in my mind, enjoy this 100%, because that's how my confidence is going to come back, and I fully believe in myself, so when my confidence is back, we're going to be at the front. So I just need to do that, and by enjoying it, it's going to make it happen faster.
Take your mind off it a little bit lighter. I've heard that you've got an app on an iPhone, and you take a picture of yourself, and it tells you whether you're hot or not. And you scored a 4 and you scored an 8. What's going on there? Right, we're going to go forward. See you in a bit, Sam. Tell him good luck, mate. Right, we're going to go forward. We're looking now. Glenn Richards, old campaigner, knows what he's about, generally near the front of the Evo class. You can tell that from the number 45 yellow backgrounds there. We're going to go forward. We're looking at John Kirkham, second row for him, much better than where he's been. He should be able to make a start from there. Beautifully turned out by that. Thanks for that. Yeah. And then we're going to look forward. We're looking on to John Laverty. We're looking Michael Laverty. We're looking at Hopper there, third on the grid. We're looking at Shane Byrne, the winner last time out, last race, earlier today. And we're looking at Tommy Hill. Mega dice in race 2 between those two, Shaky and Hill. Could be the other way around this time. Clouds are brewing. I think it's going to stay dry. Tony, back to you.
Thank you very much, Whit. Yes, still here with Nick Morgan. Well, we saw the medical helicopter coming down, Nick, so we'll be underway in a few minutes. Your thoughts on this one? We have Tommy Hill on pole, Shane Byrne second, John Hopkins third, and Michael Laverty fourth. That's a hell of a front row for your man Gary Mason in seventh to try and get through.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is a hell of a front row. You're right. He'll be all right. He'll get in there. He'll get mixing it definitely this time. We sorted out the problem we had before, and I've no doubt he'll be up there.
What was the problem? Oh, come on, don't give me a technical problem issue.
It's just we had a bit of a tyre issue, that's all.
Is it because it's your birthday? You don't want to tell me too much?
I can't divulge too much, you know how it is.
Okay, your thoughts then on Tommy Hill and his performance, because Tommy was injured quite badly at Alton Park. As a team manager, how do you rate how Tommy's come back and really pushed his way back to the front?
I mean, Tommy's a fighter, and you can see it in him. I mean, he's scrapping with Shaky there. He's fantastic. He's hot property this year, without a doubt.
Another good scrapper out there is one of your riders in the Superstock Thousands. Well, you've got Danny Buckham and Howie Mainwaring out there, and Howie's out there, and actually brilliant ride from him, and another win.
Yeah, fantastic, mate. We are absolutely wrapped. We've been on the podium every round this year, and it's just been brilliant for Kawasaki and the boys. Howie rode really well. Danny rode well in that. Picked up a few points. Still got a broken collarbone, bearing in mind. I think he was 9th in it, so it was fantastic, really good. And Howie, he was just stoked. Do you see him? His celebrations are just the best.
Well, Howie always has a massive smile on his face. But Danny was saying that he was suffering a little bit of arm pump on the right arm, which he thought was to do with the collarbone because it was the right side that he broke.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's still, it's not knitted at all yet. So, he's obviously trying to support it, heavily on the brakes. So you're just working your arm harder and harder and harder. And unfortunately for him, it's just you just can't keep the pace up. That's all. But he'll be back fighting fit for Cadwell, that's for sure.
What's the chances of us seeing either of those two lads on the Superbikes in the future? I mean, are you looking to bring them on as younger riders and push them onto the higher level yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's the whole team going ethos is to bring the younger riders through from 600s up to Superstock onto Superbike.
OK, well, fingers crossed for that. Thanks for joining us, Nick. Really appreciate that. Nick Morgan there from MSS Colchester Kawasaki. Time now to get on with the final Superbike race here from Brands Hatch. Then they go over to our commentators, James and Jack.
We have a race in prospect, the MCE Insurance British Superbike Race 3 of the weekend in association with Pirelli and the Mirror.co.uk Evo Cup, which is led at the moment, of course, by Glenn Richards, WFR Honda, ahead of Graham Gowland, his teammate at WFR, who set the fastest lap on lap 12 of the last race, 127.047, which compares very favourably with Tommy Hill's 126.46. Shaky Byrne leads the championship ahead of John Hopkins. Crucial race for the showdown in 6th and 7th places. 8th, Gary Mason, just 1 point ahead of John Kirkham. Peter Hickman, still an outside chance there in 10th, ahead of Stuart Easton and Loris Baz. They are absent. Chris Walker, James Westmoreland, Dan Linfoot, Martin Jessup, Alex Lowes, Glenn Richards, Tommy Bridewell and Graham Gowland. The starting grid is headed by Tommy Hill. Tommy Hill is one of the special guests at the opening of a new George White Emporium in Bolton on Saturday. Don't forget, get yourself there. Jonathan Ray will be there as well, and others. Tommy Hill on pole position here for Swan Yamaha alongside Shane Byrne, John Hopkins and Michael Laverty. The second row is headed by Michael Rutter, the most consistent performer of the weekend, ahead of Josh Brooks, Gary Mason and John Kirkham. The third row headed by James Westmoreland, who pulled out with a handling problem out of the earlier race today on the Motorpoint Yamaha. He's ahead of the Evo leader Graham Gowland this weekend, that is. Peter Hickman's Tyco Honda and Glenn Richards. Martin Jessup, Rapid Solicitors Batham's Ducati, is on row 4 alongside Jorn Lascaux, Yuichi Kianari, the defending champion, number 1, and Alex Lowes on the MSS Colchester Kawasaki. And behind them, we've got James Ellison, Brock Parks, Chris Walker and Jake Zemke. Ellison, of course, unable to start the race earlier today. The front row for the final race of the weekend for the MCE British Superbike Championship. Look at the contrast. The elbows are out for Tommy Hill. The elbows tucked in for Shaky Byrne. The elbows out for Johnny Hopkins.
Where was Brooks pointing? Straight down the hill, trying to get a run down and get... And it hasn't worked. It's not worked.
As they dive through up Haywood Hill into Druitt, it's Tommy Hill who's got the jump on John Hopkins and Shaky Byrne. And as they drop down towards Graham Hill Bend, back down that hill.
Some extravagant wide lines round Druitt. It's dead easy at first lap to go in a bit hot, run a bit wide, get on the dirty stuff, and then you can't get the bike turned because you will crash. There's less grip out there.
Hill, Hopkins, Byrne, Laverty, Rutter, Mason's made a good start. Westmoreland, Josh Brooks, Graham Gowland has somehow leapt through a bike number 81. He's tucked right in behind Brooks as they go galloping down Pilgrim's Drop up Hawthorns Hill. And just behind him, Yuichi Kianari trying to make progress. And there's James Ellison in the picture. The rear wheel sensor bracket broke on the warm-up lap for the last race. Sent all the electrics on the bike haywire and prevented him taking part.
Yeah, you know, I heard there, I heard blah, 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 blah.
And turn left through Stirling's Bend.
Sorry, Jack. Yeah, it was a sensor. The thing is, these things measure just about every parameter. The electrics measure front wheel speed, rear wheel speed, what's coming out of the engine, what's going in the air, the speed, the crank and everything. If a sensor goes, it just about shuts the whole thing down. You're dead right.
The first lap is complete then. Tommy Hill leads the way from John Hopkins and Shaky Byrne. Michael Laverty is 4th. Rutter is 5th. Gary Mason's MSS Colchester Kawasaki in 6th. Westmoreland, who lost out in the second race, pulled in with some suspect handling problems that they couldn't figure out. He's ahead of Brooks and Gowland. Chianari making a slightly better fist of it in 10th place ahead of Hickman and Glenn Richards. And then there's Kirkham, Ellison and Ewan Lascaux.
Yeah, you're talking about Westmoreland. You know, he's a rider that does like a number 27 on the Motorpoint Yamaha. He's a rider that does like things just so. If things aren't just quite right on that bike, he's unable to kind of work his way around and push through. He's come from 1-2-5 racing where you can get the bike just how you want it. And these things, it's very difficult to get the bike working with you all the time.
The leader, Tommy Hill, on the Swan Yamaha, then on the second lap, ahead of John Hopkins and Shaky Byrne. Hopper getting a good start on the Samsung Crescent. Suzuki will be keen to get some decent rostrum podium points, podium credits in here, as we watch Chianari just behind the Evo.
Oh,
we've got a faller.
It's one of the BMs.
And I think it's a furious Ian Lowry, number 5.
Yeah, it is.
Lowry, who's really frustrated the Irishman. His engine blew again this morning. He's really struggling. Had a good 11th place in the race yesterday in iffy conditions. This is Josh Brooks creaming the Suzuki onto the start and finish straight. He's got the better of Westmoreland, so Brooks moves up to 7th. Westmoreland back to 8th, ahead of Gowland and Chianari. James Ellison running 13th, rather lacking track time after missing the entire race earlier on. And at the moment, there is Chianari sandwiched between Gowland and John Kirkham. Kirkham's made a poor start, James, off the second row of the grid.
I really did expect Kirkham to make a little bit better start than he did from the second row, I've got to say. And he seemed dry up for it as well, you know.
John Hopkins, fastest man on track at the moment, 1:26.297 on his second lap.
Let's have a look. That's
Tommy Hill leading the way.
That's actually quite quick. That is actually quite quick compared to the first race. It's just a little bit quicker than we saw. Sorry, the first race today, the second race of the weekend.
Michael Laverty, you said that no pressure, Michael, but I'll put my money on you getting a podium. He's slotted in there in 4th place. He seemed fairly relaxed about that suggestion.
He did, and I tell you what, I had to ask about the silly hat, because we've been talking about it all weekend, and I thought somebody must, go and ask him.
He did mention, it was actually his girlfriend, Jodie Davies, who said to me, well, actually, we need a personal sponsor for him. That's why he's tried to make a point by wearing the NCB hat.
Ah, OK, I get it. Shouldn't he have like a torch on there?
or shouldn't it drop a hint like personal sponsor here?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Your advertisement can be here. We've got Rutter 6, Brooks 7th ahead of Westy, Gowland, Chianari, Kirkham, Hickman, Lascaux, Ellison and Glenn Richards. That is the top 15.
Gowland rides that thing well. I know we keep saying it, but look, there he is fending, well, a host of factory bikes off there.
Yes, Chianari, Kirkham, Hickman, Lascaux are all behind him on that shot. Here comes but a move by Chianari. No.
He just, do you know what? To me, he could have just committed a little bit more to that and got through. He just doesn't seem to have the confidence. It's a front end thing to me. It just doesn't look like he's got the confidence of what the front end of that bike's doing. And I tell you what, if you are having a lack of confidence in the front end, it's really difficult to ride round it. You can ride round lack of grip at the back because you think you can save it if it goes wrong. If the front end's going haywire, you know what? You just think, I'm going to end up on my backside here. And it's really disconcerting.
At the moment, he'll right in the positions they are now. The gap between him and Rutter for 6th in the championship is going to be about 2 points at the end of this race. But Harvey Beltram, really, his shoulders just shrugged when I asked him about Keogh earlier on today, James. He said, number 24, Patrick Muff, Tycho Honda has been off track. The Swiss rider rebounds. And he really doesn't know what to make of the fact that Keogh seems to be riding round rather than racing round.
And that's the thing, nobody really knows what's wrong with the enigma that is that man there, Yuichi Kinara. It's a fact that when he's on form and the bike's working with him, not against him, he's one of the fastest men, not only in BSB, but in the world. There's no question of that. You know, we've seen him get doubles in World Superbike, and it just... I don't know. I'm as confused as anybody, Jack.
John Kirkham looked to me, he almost did a Keogh then. He was all set to take that position off Chianari into Paddock Hill Bend, and then just pulled out at the last moment. Keogh again, looks up the inside there of Gowland's WFR Honda.
You know what the technical term for it is? You've got to press home your attack. That's what it is.
Right, OK. James Westmoreland just ahead of this group. And at the moment, Hill, Hopkins and Byrne absolutely level. 1:26.5 each on that lap. So 4 laps in, Hill, Hopkins, Byrne and Laverty the top 4.
And I can tell you that Josh Brooks is
in trouble.
He's in trouble. He's got the orange. Yeah, he's had to pull off. The smoke coming out, and the organisers cannot risk him going round dumping oil. They just cannot risk it. If you've got smoke coming out of that bike, the bikes are all fitted with a belly pan that'll catch the amount of oil and fluids that are in the bike. But that's no good if it's coming out of the exhaust. It can blow oil out of the exhaust, or even a pipe higher up on the machine that can blow oil out or water all over the track, and you can't risk that with other riders going around at this pace.
So with Hill, Hopkins, Byrne, Laverty occupying those front 4 positions, Gary Mason in 5th, Rutter in 6th, and then a scrap behind them for 7th. 1/4 distance, 5 laps in, and Tommy Hill so far confidently leading the way from former MotoGP star John Hopkins on the Samsung Crescent Suzuki.
Good style, Hopkins, you know. I like his style. Kind of a radical hanging off style, but smooth with it. You know, it looks like it should be fairly raggy, but it isn't. It's quite smooth.
I think all those front 4 riders are pretty supreme stylists in their own way, aren't they? They've got very different ways of attacking the track.
Do you know what?
Oh, and this time, look, at last, Kianari makes that stick, gets past Gowler's WFR Honda at Surtees.
About time is the phrase, I think, that's you there. Yeah, we're talking about style, and you get a lot of people. I instruct on track days quite a lot. And he's not wasting any time getting past Westmoreland.
Well, suddenly he's waking up. There's the SorryMate.com SMT Honda of James Ellison. He's in that bunch that is now headed by the defending champion. I've just realised that number 17, Johan Lescors, the almost unnervingly quiet Spaniard from Barcelona, is picking his way through this group. So the World Superbike Kawasaki of Johan Lescors, who he has ridden here before, of course, raced here in 2008 in World Super Sport, has now progressed through that group. Actually, there's look at this. Gowler has stuck it right past the East Yorkshireman James Westmoreland there as they come through Clark Curve. So Gowland following Kianari past James Westmoreland. He moves 8th. Westmoreland 9th. Lescors is the next man who is trying to find a way through.
Yeah, and I don't think it'd be too long getting past Westmoreland by the look of it.
Kianari's trying to get away. Kianari is trying to make a break now. Ahead of him, he's got a bit of clear track because it's about 5 seconds up the road to Michael Rutter. There is Michael Rutter. Here comes Kianari. And then the whole gravy, the rest of them through to about 20th place. Look at this. An absolute train on them. Kianari 127.3 on that lap. Rutter 126.5.
Yeah, but Kianari has got the fastest first split of anybody. That first split's gone red on the timing screen. Those scores up the inside of Westmoreland, I think. No, not quite. He had a go. Kianari's going now. He is.
Kianari is. Kianari has kind of just lit the blue touch paper, really, as he dives down Pilgrim's Drop. Perhaps this is he's just baiting us. He's waiting until we think that he's completely blown it, and then he's going to surge back into contention and win the championship at the final round.
Is that it?
Yeah, win his 4th British Superbike championship at the last round.
Just trying to not make it look easy.
Yeah, look, here comes Johan Lescors. Very precise in his overtaking moves, the Spaniard. Just slips past James Westmoreland, who's now got John Kirkham's Samsung Crescent Suzuki for company.
The elegant Spaniard. Oh, yes.
And Kirkham this time, no, does he? Yes, he does get through. Look at the difference in size between Westmoreland and Kirkham from the back.
Yeah.
But he's not quite able to push hard enough going through Druids. Just behind those two, you've got James Ellison, Glenn Richards, then there's Brock Parks and Chris Walker in 16th.
I want to see what's happening at the front, because Hopkins has just put his fastest lap in. He must be right on the back wheel of Hill now, I reckon. Must be.
He is on Tommy Hill, up Hawthorne Hill. Sweeping 3rd gear, 100 miles an hour through the right-hander, and then bursting across Derek Minter Straight, 130, back down to a mere 90 as the drop down Westfield and hurtle into Dingle-Dell. And Michael Rutter closing in now on Gary Mason, and he needs to, because that man Kianari is giving chase.
Yep, and this is a quicker race than the race we've just seen earlier on today. It's about a couple of tenths quicker, generally, lap for lap.
And could that be why Shaky is just straining a bit to keep on the pace of the front two?
I think so, Jack, yeah.
Hill did a 126.2 on his last lap. Hopkins 126.16. Shaky Byrne 126.36. And as they cross the line this time, it's a 126.3, a 126.4 and a 126.5 for the front three. Tommy Hill once again showing his prowess at kind of leading and saying it, mastering a race from the front.
Yes,
really.
Yep, I was just thinking the same thing myself.
Interesting contrasting styles between Hill. Hill's very quick out of Druids and down the hill. Hopkins and Byrne, Laverty, Mason and Rutter. I'm
just wondering whether that Swan Yamaha team have made some changes, particularly for Hill, because we saw in the race 2, the race we've just seen today, that Hill seemed to just like a little bit out of the corners when you compared him to Shaky Byrne. And now it doesn't seem. I think they seem to either made, I don't know, maybe a tyre change, or they've altered the suspension a little bit on that Swan Yamaha. He certainly seems to be getting the drive out of the corners better than race 1.
So Hill and Hopkins go into the burst of sunlight here as they drop into Westfield, and now Michael Rutter, he knows that Gary Mason is still a contender for that top 6 in the championship for the showdown, and he's desperately trying to get on terms with the Kawasaki.
It's going to be a showdown a bit sooner than that, I think.
Hill, Hopkins, Byrne, Laverty. It's developed into a battle for first and a battle for third here. Michael Laverty way wide on the entrance to Clark curve.
Yeah, but he
pulls
cuts
it back.
Yeah, the thing is, Jack, it drops away there. You can't accelerate there because the track's dropping away and it's so easy to lose the back end. You've got to ease off the throttle, keep it driving, but not just put so much torque to the rear wheel, and then get back on it as the track comes up to catch you. By then, you're round the corner a little bit more.
Oof. So in the sunshine at Druids Hill Bend, as they go round there, it's a 50-mile-an-hour second gear corner, drop down to Graham Hill Bend, the left-hander 65, 70, and then swoop at 130 along the Cooper Straight, back to 65, up the hill out of Surtees. Hopkins goes wide, pulls the Suzuki back to get the drive up the hill.
Yeah, and Kianari is pulling a lot of time back each lap on Mason and Rutter. He's lapping about the same times as the leading 4, Hill, Hopkins, Byrne and Laverty, but Kianari is now lapping considerably quicker for the last couple of laps than Mason and Rutter in 5th and 6th.
I've got to tell you what,
they've got 4 seconds to go though.
What Rutter needs to, I think Rutter needs to get past Mason. I think Rutter possibly, if he could find a way through, might just be able to open up a gap. But look at this, Michael Laverty trying to make a move now on the second race winner of the weekend, Shaky Byrne.
He's not letting me down. The 10 bob, not quite safe, but I'm not worried yet.
And as they disappear under the MC Insurance Bridge, Michael Laverty looking very keen to line up the HM plant Honda. Once again, he takes that wide line on through clearways, brings it back to the pit lane entrance.
And that bit of track seems so quick because your head's almost brushing the pit wall on the inside as you cut it back to the, and you really do get a feeling of speed. Some circuits and some corners you really don't get a feeling of speed. Here we go.
Wow, and I think he kind of bounced his way out of an attempt at a pass going up the hill then.
Guinara just at his fastest lap of the race, and that is just about the fastest man out there now.
Yeah, you're right, he was the equivalent of the leaders, the 2 leaders there, and also 0.8 of a second faster than the 2 guys in front of him. Here is Mason versus Rutter. There's Kianari closing the gap behind them. And of course, these are the 2 guys who are closest to him in the championship in that battle for 6th place and a place in the showdown for the last 3 rounds.
Yep, Rutter needs to strike now if he can get past Mason, because it really is important that he stay in front. Oh, he's having a look. They stay in front of Kianari because it is so close for that vital 6th place in the championship with only 1 round to go.
There is, you're right. After this, there's only 3 races left at Cadwell Park for them to make the difference.
Yeah, triple header at Cadwell due to the fact this was always going to be a triple header, but Cadwell Park due to the fact that one wasn't run at Oulton Park.
So Hill, Hopkins, Byrne, Laverty, Mason, Rutter. There's Kianari. And Michael Laverty still trying to, Laverty somehow, he just needs that extra ounce of aggression to try and launch an assault on Shaky Byrne, but of course it's not like Shaky's going to easily give up this 3rd place. He wants the podium credits.
Yeah, and I can tell you that John Laverty, Michael's brother, although a big smack he took up there at Oulton Park, he's in good spirits. He's been out and about up there in Liverpool where he's been worked on, and he's quite happy with the team, the medical team that are attending. Whoa, that's close. You've got to watch that. Somebody runs wide, you take the opportunity, you stick your front wheel in there, and if the rider that's run wide then cuts back, that can be disastrous.
Yeah, Jay Lav has had Oh, look at this. Rutter's done the move. He's done the deed while we've been away. He's got the better of Gary Mason now. Can he move away from the MSS Colchester Kawasaki?
He's got to do.
The most experienced rider on the British Superbike scene, Michael Rutter, with his dad Tony's helmet, or at least design of, on his head.
The most experienced man in any paddock. That's what he is.
And Michael Laverty still trying to find a way past that HM Plant Honda. It was noticeable that Shaky Byrne gave a lot of credit to his team for sorting out the HM Plant Honda. They've had put a lot of hard work into getting it round this track during the course of the weekend.
Yeah, Nick Goodis and his crew chief, good old mechanic is Nick. I've been with him a couple of times over the years. I've had 2 years with Nick, brilliant. He's worked for that many people. He's absolutely unflappable. Seen it all before, done it all before, knows with every situation how to get the best out of it without panicking. He's a good kid as well. I say kid. He's getting on a bit now. He won't thank me for telling everybody how old he is. But yeah, cracking mechanic is Nick.
Shaky Byrne just ahead of Michael Laverty at the top of the hill. Hill leads the way. Laverty again hard on the brakes, trying to find a way through at Druids.
Yep, Kianari within 2 seconds now of Gary Mason. That's 6th Mason, 7th now Kianari.
The scores is 8th, Gowland 9th, Kirkham in 10th ahead of Hickman, Brock Parks, James Ellison, James Westman back now to 14th, just ahead of Glenn Richards and Chris Walker. The drop at Pilgrims, and we're past half distance, the 13th lap of 20 here at the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit.
Yeah, I tell you what, if you get a chance, when you get that shot where they come over the brow out of Surtees onto the straight, just look at the heat haze coming out of the exhaust. These things are sucking in so much air. They're only 1 litre bikes, which compared to a lot of cars, oh, here we go. It's not such a big engine when you compare it to a lot of sort of big car engines, but they're revving so much, 12, 13, 14,000 RPM. That's a lot of air that's going in, getting made red hot and getting pushed out the exhaust.
Michael Laverty, as we approach the end of lap 13, is putting everything into finding a way past the HM Plant Honda. Tommy Hill at the front rolled his 150th British Superbike race on the earlier today. He's now on his 151st, looking for his 10th ever race win. The moment he's leading the way ahead of John Hopkins and these two. The battle on for 3rd place. Down the hill again. Michael constantly looking for those narrow entrances, the early apexes, and Shaky so quick out of the turns.
Yeah, and he doesn't miss anything, you know, Shaky, a less experienced rider or a more panicable kind of, is that a word?
It's a good, a wonderful invention.
I think it's a word. You can actually push along a bit, show him your wheel, and you can rely on the fact that sooner or later, 3 or 4 laps later, they're going to make a mistake, you're going to get by. Not in the case of Shane Byrne, I don't think.
There is Laverty still trying to keep the pressure on. Well, he knows he's keeping the pressure on. He's just desperately trying to seek a way past. Behind them, Rutter, Mason, Kianari. The gap between Mason and Kianari, 1.5 seconds at the end of the last lap. Graham Gowland in 9th place is still half a second clear of John Kirkham on the 2nd of the Samsung Crescent Suzukis. In turn, ahead of Hickman, who's being pressed now by Brock Parks, and then James Ellison ahead of James Westmoreland and Glenn Richards. Ewan Lescores has set his fastest lap of the race, 1:26.75 on the Paul Bird Motorsport Kawasaki.
Yeah, and Kianari's continuing to go quick. He's had his fastest middle split, so he's still on the pipe.
And Kianari now less than a second behind Gary Mason as we watch this continuing struggle for 3rd place and that crucial podium credit between Shaky Byrne and Michael Laverty.
And it's a difficult position to be in. You're getting constant pressure. It's difficult not to think about the rider behind you and be pushed into mistake. It does kind of focus your mind. You've got to keep thinking forward when you can hear the engine, you can hear the induction roar from the bike that's right behind you. It's dead easy to be panicked.
The former British Super Sport champion Michael Laverty from Tombridge, one of 3 racing brothers out of 4. The other one's a distinguished Irish footballer, as they dive down now into Pilgrim's Drop. Shaky looking, he just looks like everything. He just looks determined, sets very confident in the front of the bike, James. And,
yeah, and he's not
just riding impeccably, really.
He's not riding defensively either. He's leaving it open for Michael Laverty if he's got the pace to get by. You know, he's not trying to go up the inside. And that's pointless this early in a race, you know, because you're going to cost you both riders time if you try and defend. I mean, last lap, yeah, fair enough. But he's just riding his own race, he's shaking out. That just happens to be just a little bit too quick for Michael Laverty to easily get past.
Three-quarter distance, 15 laps out of 20. Tommy Hill leads by 1.4 seconds from John Hopkins. This, the battle for third place. Another 4 seconds down the road between Shane Byrne and Michael Laverty. And then we've got Michael Rutter in 5th place. He's now got about a few seconds advantage over Gary Mason. Mason is finding Ryuichi Kiyanari uncomfortably close. This is Graham Gowland getting hounded by Peter Hickman, who's got the better of John Kirkham.
Gowland 9th on that Evo bike, and in this field, to put an Evo bike in the top 10 in good conditions when you're not helped by damp patches or a tyre choice, I tell you what, that's fair play to Gowland. He's riding well.
At the moment he's got Derbyshire's Kirkham and Lincolnshire's Hickman right with him. This is the battle still going on between Irishman and Englishman. Shaky Byrne, number 67. 31 British Superbike race wins to his credit, 2 championships in 2003 and again in 2008. Those, of course, were with twin-cylinder Ducatis, now trying to achieve a 3rd championship on the 4-cylinder Honda.
Yeah, Shane Byrne ridden quite a lot of stuff over the years. He's, like you said, ridden V-twins, straight 4s. He's ridden even the 3-cylinder Cube MotoGP bike some years ago. You know, he's ridden just about everything as a lad, the Aprilia.
And the first one ever, when he was 9, was on holiday in Bognor Regis on a Pooch Raider. So he has really ridden a lot.
I had a Puck Raider myself.
Did you?
Yeah.
What is it?
I don't think it came from Bognor Regis, actually, but it's just a little kid's bike. It was all right, quite good. Automatic thing, yeah.
Tommy Hill is eking out that lead at the front now over Hop, nearly 2 seconds in front of Hopper as this continuing battle between Byrne and Laverty rages. Oh, that heat haze is impressive, isn't it?
Oh, they shove a lot of air out, they do.
Oof. I'm surprised, over 170 down there and then up Hawthorne Hill through the fast sweeper at Hawthorne Bend along the Minter Straight.
Yeah, all these things running what's called pressurised air, but here we go.
Look at this,
yeah,
Kiyanari has caught Rutter.
Kiyanari
has caught Rutter, he's dragged Mason along with him, and now this is a really crucial stage of the race. We're on the 17th lap of 20, and these 3 fellas are all contesting a place in the 6-man showdown after the next round at Cadwell Park. So 3 more races after this to decide it.
And Kiyanari continues to lap in this race as fast as anybody else except for Tommy Hill at the front. So I mean, this makes it even more maddening. The fact that he can do it, you know, it's a nightmare for team managers.
17 laps complete. Hill 2.3 seconds ahead of Hopper. Then there's Byrne versus Laverty, and then this battle: Rutter, Kiyanari, Mason. Michael Rutter, is there anything that the man from Brearley Hill can do about this? He's on the Rapid Solicitors Batham's Ducati there in red, white and green. Round Graham Hill Bend on to the Cooper Straight.
You get the feeling it's a matter of time before Kiyanari sneaks his way past Michael Rutter, and that could have a massive effect come the end of Cadwell Park the next round with this well, the only place in that top 6 that's still available, I reckon.
It will, and I think Michael's kind of just lost a couple of opportunities this weekend. You weren't the only guy to think that perhaps he should have won yesterday if he just had that little bit extra confidence a bit earlier in those slicks.
You can't blame him for that. You know, he went out on the slicks, nobody else did. He made him work. He said the reason he didn't keep pushing was because early on he had a couple of slides. It took him a long time to get over it. A lesser man with lesser skill would have put it in the dirt anyway. So
yeah,
that's all credit what he did yesterday.
Yeah. No, it was Frankie Keeley who said, I felt he should have won it.
Here we go, what's that? That said TC. Yes, I don't know who that was for, but it was saying, I think Michael Laverty was being told traction control to 2, so the team's telling him where to put the traction control settings on that bike. So he'll be thrutching about now with the levers and the buttons on the bike, and there's lots of them.
As if he hadn't got enough to concentrate.
Exactly.
Stung me.
Yeah, I turned my traction control down too, but I went straight on because I forgot where I was going.
Yeah, exactly. I forgot which bit of track I was on. Hill, Hopper lead these two, Byrne and Laverty. And then it's Rutter by 2.223 of a second ahead of Chianari, who is just ahead of Gary Mason's MSS Colchester Kawasaki. This is such a critical battle here. Rutter desperately needs the points to just pull a couple back on Chianari in 6th place in the championship chase.
Yeah, he doesn't have to stay with him, he needs to finish him.
Oh, Chianari gets the power down so well over the hilltop. Is he going to surely quicker than Rutter down the hill, but Rutter's late on the brakes into Hawthorn.
I've been dead impressed with that Ducati over the weekend because there's nothing wrong with the speed of it. That's Patrick Muff getting out of the way. He's been off the track already and lost a lot of time, consequently getting lapped quite early on.
We're on the 19th of 20 laps, a huge climax to this race, a huge climax to the championship, and an enormous moment in the championship chase for that 6th place in the showdown.
Could be pivotal, because whoever makes it into the top 6 and therefore fights for the championship in the showdown could well win it. You can sneak in just into 6 and still have a good chance of winning it. There's Tommy Hill.
Tommy Hill then, into his final lap goes Tommy Hill, number 33. John Hopkins 3.2 seconds behind him on the Samsung Crescent Suzuki. There is the Swan Yamaha, there's the Suzuki. There is the battle between Shaky Byrne and his constant tormentor Michael Laverty, and then Michael Rutter versus Yuichi Chianari. What a battle this is. Rutter's riding such a resourceful race here.
He is, and it's not a brilliant place to pass, isn't it, Brands? Actually, it's a long circuit, it's an involved circuit, lots of corners, lots of ups, lots of downs, but it is a difficult place to pass on occasion, especially when you're racing with somebody going as quickly as
Keogh's good here. I was just going to say, Keogh's tried the inside line at Surtees. It didn't work that time. Will he get the drive up the hill and then drop inside or even round the outside into Hawthorns? He gets the front wheel airborne. Now down Pilgrim's Drop, up to 170 and beyond, and then back it off for Hawthorns. Rutter's still there.
Yes, I'm like Buzz Lightyear. 170 and beyond.
Rutter drops it into Westfield. He's still fending off Chianari. What a ride by the veteran Midlander this is.
Yeah, he's actually having a go, is Rutter. He knows what the crack is. Whatever else Rutter is, he ain't thick, I'll tell you.
There is Tommy Hill. It's going to be a 10th British Superbike race finish victory for Tommy Hill. There's Shaky Byrne still hanging on to 3rd place ahead of Michael Laverty. Hill wins it. Joy for Swan Yamaha. 2nd place John Hopkins. 3rd place Shaky Byrne ahead of Michael Laverty. That's your 10 bob gone. And then across the line comes, yes, Rutter. Michael Rutter does hold on to that 5th place and 11 crucial points ahead of Yuichi Chianari on 10. That's remarkable. In 6th place, Gary Mason 7th, Lascores 8th ahead of Hakeman and Kirkham, who finally wore down the WFR Honda of Graham Gowland and squeezed him out of the top 10. Brock Parks 12th ahead of Ellison. James Westmoreland, Chris Walker gets the final point in 15th for Primo Kawasaki. Well, what a terrific climax to the race that was.
Yeah, wasn't it?
And Hill, Hopkins and Byrne then got those front 3 places. Chianari drops his head because he's still there in 6th place in the race. He remains 6th in the championship. Yeah. But that gap has just been squeezed down slightly. Sean Muir and the gang looking pretty happy with that result. A 1st and a 4th for them.
Yeah, that'll cut Chianari's advantage in that 6th place, that vital 6th place in the championship, to about 4 points.
Sorry, I'm just trying to... No, I think 5. Will it cut it down to 5 points, I think? So it's still really wide open as they go to Cadwell Park.
Yeah.
But for Tommy Hill, great victory for him. 3 podium credit points, and he's looking really thrilled at that.
Flawless race for Tommy Hill. Didn't see one single mistake and had a lot of pressure early on. Took it well and then pulled out a lead at the end. Yeah, class.
WFR Honda have scored a 1-2-3 in the mirror.co.uk Evo Class. Graham Gowland 11th overall, Glenn Richards 17th, Jake Zemke, the half Japanese American from California, 18th, ahead of Barry Borrell on the build-based BMW and Scott Smart on the Moto Rapido Ducati. There is the 6th finisher in this race, Yuichi Chianari. Well, he certainly finally lit things up a bit there, James, but in the end just lacked that, perhaps that hint of spite at the end to find a way past Rutter, who was riding an immaculate race.
He was, and he responded when he knew that Chianari was behind him.
Talking about an immaculate race, Tommy Hill's half a lap behind everybody else, still enjoying the accolades of the crowd.
I've seen him this excited, but not for this long.
And the crowds round here, I've mentioned before, that bank on the right of picture there, where you see the burst from Sheen Curve to Stirling, is one of the most exciting bits of track you can ever find, and one of the closest you can get to.
I was just going to say, the reason is, Jack, because you're dead close. You're really close to the back. There's nowhere in British racing where you can get just as close as what you are to the action here.
And also, you guys have to work so hard to get it from the exit to Sheen Curve. They've got to drag it back to the right to get it into Stirling.
But Stirling's is lovely. You know, Stirling's is a proper dished corner. On the bike, it looks even more dished than what it is from the side of the track. And I tell you, you get hooked in there properly. It's a beautiful feeling.
This is the result then of the third race at the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit here in the MCE British Superbike Championship. Tommy Hill wins it for Swan Yamaha, his 10th career championship win, ahead of John Hopkins, Samsung Crescent Suzuki, Shaky Byrne, HM Plant Honda, Michael Laverty's Swan Yamaha, Michael Rutter dramatically for Rapid Solicitors Batham's Ducati, ahead of Kianari's HM Plant Honda. Gary Mason, MSS Colchester Kawasaki, takes 7th ahead of Johan Lescores on the World Superbike Kawasaki team bike. Peter Hickman, Tyco Honda, and John Kirkham, Samsung Crescent Suzuki, eventually got the better of the gallant Graham Gowland's team WFR Honda, the Evo class winner for the 3rd time this weekend, ahead of Brock Parks, James Ellison, James Westmoreland, Chris Walker's Primo Racing Kawasaki, and then outside the point scorers Alex Lowe's and the Evo guys. 2nd in that class Richards, 3rd Zemke, 4th Barry Burrell, and 5th Scott Smart. The championship standings then, let's see if our maths have worked here. 255 for Shaky Byrne, 231 John Hopkins, 210 for Tommy Hill, 163 for Michael Laverty. Josh Brooks remains on 146 after having to unfortunately pull out of that. Still 11 points ahead of Yuichi Kianari, who is indeed just 5 points ahead of the 7th place Michael Rutter. And then Gary Mason, 15 points further back, is 8th. Just ahead now by 4 points of John Kirkham on 111 and Tyco Honda's Peter Hickman on 98. 11th place in the championship, Stuart Easton, still Loris Baz 12th ahead of Walker, Westmoreland, Dan Linfoot, Martin Jessup, Alex Lowe's, Glenn Richards, Tommy Bridewell and Graham Gowland. This was the start of the final MCE Insurance British Superbike race of the weekend, and Tommy Hill got a flyer. Michael Laverty nearly squeezed up the inside, but just had the door shut on him as they dropped through Paddock Hill Bend, and had to settle for 4th place as they went up the hill. Out went Ian Lowry on the build-based BMW, unhappy with that. Poor Josh Brooks was black flagged with a bit of smoke coming out of the back of the relentless Baitar Suzuki. And then after that, Yuichi Kianari began to wake up at last, got the better of Gowland, got the better of Westmoreland. Gowland, number 81, followed him past Westmoreland's Motorpoint Yamaha. Behind Westmoreland, the green Kawasaki of number 17, Johan Lescores. Michael Laverty constantly thwarted in his attempts to grab 3rd place from Shaky Byrne's Honda. Same thing for the HM Plant Honda of defending champion Kianari. He got onto the back wheel of Michael Rutter's Ducati and tried every which way for the last 3 laps to find a way past the wily veteran, and he could not do it. Tommy Hill took his 10th career win in his 151st British Superbike race. 2nd Hopper, 3rd Byrne, 4th Michael Laverty, 5th, crucially, 2 Michael Rutter's Ducati ahead of the reigning champion Yuichi Kianari. Joy for the Swan Yamaha team and Sean Muir and his gang. Great result for them, and Tommy Hill, well, he enjoyed that all the way round the lap in front of his home fans down here in Kent. Comes from Lingfield, just up the road really, watched by his family of course, as well as brother Jimmy, who'll be out again in the Supersport race.
Well, we are here with our 3rd place finisher in the Mirror.co.uk Evo class, and it's Jake Zemke. Jake, you had a hell of a battle out there with Barry Burrell and Scott Smart. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was good. I think Allerton was in there too as well, and no, it was good. You know, I got a really good start, and you know, obviously my 2 teammates have been showing the way and how this bike gets around the racetrack. And yesterday being my first day, full day on the track, you know, it's the first time I even saw the place. You know, we're pretty proud to be up here at 1, 2, 3 for Team WFR.
It's a great result for all of you, but what do you make of Brands Hatch GP circuit? It's a bit legendary around these parts.
Yeah, for sure. You know, the track is it's amazing. It's a really great track and a lot of fun to race and dice with guys on too. It's creates some really good passing areas and some great racing. And you know, I just had a blast out there today, and you know, it's little baby steps all weekend long. You know, like we're doing at every track. It's we just keep chipping away at it all weekend, and you know, I'm really happy to put all three of us up here on the box.
Can't wait to see what your reaction is to Cadwell Park. We'll talk to you after that, I'm sure. Well done, Jake.
All right, thanks a lot.
There you go then, Jake Zemke will now go off to the podium to start the celebrations. Our second place finisher in the Evo class race was Glenn Richards. Glenn, your race from your point of view?
It was good to start with. Made a few little changes to the bike, and that was working well. Just lost me quick shifter halfway through, which is a pretty weird thing. The bike's been bulletproof really all season, so I heard some... I thought I was hearing noises, championship noises, when you're leading the championship, so I rolled sort of half distance and made sure I brought it home. And, you know, all credit to Graham. All weekend he's been very, very fast, and, you know, I don't think anyone's going to beat him today, so well done.
Another good, safe 20 points in the bag. Well done, Glenn.
Cheers.
There we go, our second place finisher, Glenn Richards, and our race winner for the, well, second time today, Graham Gowland, third time this weekend. Good to see you up here, Gowler. The race from your point of view?
Yeah, it was hard actually from the start. You know, obviously Glenn was going a bit quicker, so I was just watching my board, and it was, you know, really tight at the beginning. And then slowly, once the tyres started going off, you know, I just kind of crept away. So yeah, really happy. It's been a perfect weekend for us. And then you know, all the WFR on the podium as well. So great for the team.
Great for WFR Honda. The progress continues. Graham, we'll let you go to the podium. Well done.
Thank you very much.
There you go. So Graham is now off to the podium. Our third place finisher in the Superbike race is Shane Bird. Shane, you come under a lot of pressure there from Michael Laverty for sustained periods, but overall, rate your performance in that race.
Well, let's just say I tried as hard as I could, but you know, from like 2 or 3 laps in, it was fairly obvious we had a bit of an issue with the bike, and I had a load of vibration from the rear tyre, and I just couldn't ride around it. You know, we had it in practice, and the first race, the bike was fantastic. That was probably the best thing about the bike, and you know, fair play to Tommy and John, because they set a flipping fast pace in the beginning. And to be honest with you, in the first couple of laps, I was comfortable running that pace, but then started getting this vibration. Every time I leant the bike over, it started to skip round a bit, and I thought, oh, blimey, you know, a first and a third is going to be a lot better than a first and a DNF. So then I had Michael have to keep me honest for the rest of the race, and that didn't make life any easier. But, you know, a first and a third, it's been a difficult weekend. I'm really, really happy. Thank you for taking part on the team, and hopefully next round, Cadwell, it's the team's home track, we can get another couple of wins in.
Nicely done. We'll see you at Cadwell Park. Well done.
Thank you.
There we go, that was our third place finisher, Shane Byrne. Our second place finisher was John Hopkins. Well, John, on the podium again, so another podium credit in the bag for you. Happy with this weekend's performance?
You know, I can't say I was happy with the first 2 races. I mean, made a couple mistakes. That race, I couldn't have tried harder. Tommy Hill, hats off to him. He absolutely rode a perfect race, and I tried everything, but you know, the Samsung Crescent Suzuki was working amazing, and you know, once the tires got worn a little bit, you know, I chipped away, and then eventually I just lost it and lost that little gap, and just had to maintain it over Shane. But I'm just really happy. The team's really worked hard all weekend, and you know, that podium was for them, because they've just been busting their butt all weekend, and yeah, there was a good turnout, rain and shine, but yeah, I'm just happy to put on a good show out there.
Great, we're very happy to watch you do. We'll let you go to the podium. Well done, John. John Hopkins, our second place finisher. Now, race winner, his 10th race win in BSB, it's Tommy Hill. You said you wanted to perform in front of the home crowd. Boy, didn't you do that.
Yeah, I've done a lap of honour as well. I carried on down the start-finish, just to see all the boys and that come and support me, and yeah, fantastic. I mean, the first race was sort of find your feet. You know, yesterday obviously we had the iffy conditions, and we found our feet in the first one. The wind picked up a little bit, and you know, I knew what was going to happen in the wind in the second race. So I just you know, got my head down. I wanted to just get off the line as quick as I could and just push hard from the word go. And yeah, it was a tough race. You know, I was pushing, and halfway through I decided to look at the pit board, because I don't look at the lap counting down, and it was only 10 laps. And I thought, right, I've got my work cut out. Hopper just kept the pressure on all the way. So if the bar's raised, I think we've got 3 riders there that are going to keep pushing. So I'm really happy. I mean, the Swan boys have worked really well this weekend. The Yamaha is working well, and you know, we're just trying to make it, you know, improve it in a few areas, maybe where the other riders are a little bit better. But you know, it's a good package.
Perfect. Can't wait to see you guys back here for the end of season shenanigans as well. We'll let you go to the podium. Well done. So there we go, Tommy Hill, just as the usual helmet flash, and he is off to the podium. We'll bring you some shots of that a little later on, but as you probably heard...
Place to give us a bit of an heads up on the actual level we're at BSB now. You're more used to the World Championship. You come here with a full factory team, fantastic bikes, and what's that level-wise and depth of field, what do you see British Championship as now?
Yeah, but you've got, you know, top-level teams in British Superbikes. You know, we went from here running towards the front and straight into we fit straight into World Superbikes. You know, you got the Yamahas, their factory bikes. You know, fly-by wide throttles, and you know, Honda always turned a good motorcycle out. The Suzuki's, they ran well at Silverstone last week. You know, a lot of top-level riders and top-level teams here. You know, that's why we're here. You know, we knew it was going to be tough and put the riders up to be shot at. You know, they're there to ride motorbikes and they get paid top dollar to ride in World Superbikes. So let them have it. Let them get stuck in. I don't mind the British boys duffing them up.
Paul, good luck this time, mate.
Cheers, thank you.
Tony, back to you.
Well, there we go then, James. Yeah, sorry about that. I thought James was on the grid, but he was just further down pit lane. But he'll be on the grid momentarily. Leon, you can hear what James was saying there to Paul Bird, but it was quite refreshing to hear Paul Bird say, look, these are world-class riders. I brought them here, put them up to be shot down, and they need to get out there and get on with it. It's talking about one of the scores and Brock Parks. That's quite refreshing for a team manager to be that honest. Probably not for the riders.
Yeah, you know, for sure. You know, BSB's always been at a strong level. You know, last year Tom Sykes come here and you know, got a couple of wins on the Kawasaki, so for sure Paul's going to be wanting the same out of his two riders now. But you know, Lascaux has not really been here too often, and obviously Brock's been on a 600 all year, so it's a bit of a tall order for them guys, you know, and especially with the BSB being so strong this year.
Yeah, like you say, with Tommy Hill on pole, Shane Burns second, John Hopkins third, Michael Laverty fourth. I mean, there's some names there, and they're tough riders to get around here.
Yeah, for sure, and you know, it's they're all fighting for a championship, and they're not going to be wanting no outsiders beating them, so they're definitely not going to give them an easy time.
What do you make of Michael Laverty? Because every time he seems to be getting to grips with it, just something comes along and sort of knocks him back very slightly. And Michael Laverty is a class rider, as indeed all the Lavertys are.
Yeah, for sure. You know, Michael's a top rider, and you know, it's only little things in this sport that make a big difference. And you know, doesn't seem to be getting off the line all that well, or makes a couple of mistakes early on. But you know, as you saw in that first race, he come through and caught the guys up, and you know, just a little bit of bad luck. Looks like he's struggling to overtake compared to the others, but he's definitely got the pace. So hopefully, he can get a better start this race and get away with them.
Whatever's causing his problems to overtake, it's not aggression. We know that of the Lavertys, they are as hard as they come out there, hard as a bag of nails. Right, James Woodham has made his way out to the grid. So, Which, for the second time of asking, it's over to you.
Yeah, cheers, Tony. Well, you've got Leon Haslam over there. I've got Ollie Haslam, and I tell you what, I think I've got the best end of that one, I've got to say. Ollie. Well, you're taller than Leon, actually, I've got to say.
I'm on the slope.
Ollie, you've got some news for us. I know we've known for some time, but I'd like to just say from everybody in BSB, you know everybody in BSB that well. You were in the championship for a long time. Congratulations on the news, which is?
Very much, that we are having a baby. It's down there. We're very excited. We don't know what it is. It's going to be a monkey, probably, because it's Leon's.
Welcome back to Brands Hatch. Don't forget, if you're a cricket fan, it's the second T20. It's between Sri Lanka and Australia. That's tomorrow at 2:20 in the afternoon, and you can see that on British Eurosport 2. Well, still here at the end of pit lane. We're about to get underway with the third British Superbikes race of the day here. Third British Superbike race of the weekend, second British Superbike race of the day here at Brands Hatch. And the guys are going out to form up and everything, so we've got a few minutes in hand. Leon Haslam is still with me here. Leon, let's talk about Ryuichi Kiyanari and HM Plant Honda, because the defending champion is having a rough old time of it. And Javier Beltran, the team manager, said, you know, they've had a serious talk with him, and you can only imagine what that is from our point of view. But from your point of view, you've been in there. What will that entail?
Yeah, you know, it's real tough. There's no doubt that Kia is an unbelievable natural talent. You know, he just gone and won the Suzuki 8 Hour, where, you know, I was over there a few years ago and he was lapping 2 seconds a lap quicker than me. And, you know, the week after in BSB, you know, he struggles to finish in the top 10. So, you know, it's a very much a confident sport, bike racing. And, you know, Kia is not happy. He's not confident. And, you know, when he is, he's one of the fastest guys out there. And when he's not, he's obviously having a bad time of it, which, you know, he's not riding any worse, but you can see that he's not happy.
He's now susceptible to attack in the top 6. He's in the 6th place position. Josh Brooks has now leapfrogged him this weekend overall. If he's not in that top 6 when we get out of Cadwell Park, he doesn't go in for the showdown, so the title is effectively over for him. How much of a concern will that be for him at this stage?
You know, for sure, it's belief in yourself to push through it.
And that much harder when your teammate has just won the race and looks so happy up front.
Yeah, it is hard, you know, for sure. You always want to beat your teammate, and Shaky's on top form right now. So, you know, when things aren't going right for you and your teammate's doing really good, it's definitely doesn't help the confidence.
No, we'll pause it right there, Leon. Just stay with us for the moment because time to go over to the grid. You can probably hear the bikes going out and forming up on the grid. James Whittam is over there, so Whit, it's all yours.
Yeah, I'm actually with Paul Bird further up the pit lane. Paul, team principal with the factory Kawasaki squad in World Superbike. You're taking time out from your world champ. Get rid of your chewing gum there, lad. To come to BSB at Brands, it really worked for you last year with Tom Sykes taking 2 out of the 3 wins. Not working just quite so well. The weather's played against you a little bit this weekend.
Yeah, well, we knew it was going to be tough this weekend. You remember, it's the best national championship in the world. But we have a brand new bike, and every track we take it to, we get lots of different scenarios. So it was important for us to come here and, you know, get and throw another scenario into situation, see how we cope with it. It's proving quite a difficult bike to set up at certain circuits. So hey ho.
A little bit of a well, interesting but unlucky weekend at Silverstone for you. Tom Sykes looking good, as he usually does, to be honest. He's starting to get to grips with the bike, and then a horrendous crash for him in going towards the end of qualifying.
Yeah, that's right. Disappointing, especially with Tom being at his home race and our home race as well. But yeah, I think he's very lucky to get away with a broken ankle he's got. But he'll be back for Nürburgring, and she will be bouncing back.
You're probably best
in the back of his mind, and that might be the problem. You know, he doesn't need to think about it too much. You know, he's a very, very fast natural rider. So you know, the pressures need to be took away from him. You know, by his team or his, you know, whoever it needs to be, and he just needs to ride the bike. You know, he's got the package with the Honda, and Shaky's proving that. So you know, he just needs to go out there and just do what he knows, basically.
Now, we just saw some footage, that was earlier on, of you talking to Keogh. You went in there and had a bit of a chat with him. What were you saying to him?
No, you know, me and Keogh had some fantastic battles over the year, and you know, still remain good friends. So, you know, just chatting away, and you know, he just said he's struggling with one thing or another, and you know, he looks like he's struggling on corner entry. You know, it's quite easy to see that he's not too happy or confident with one thing or another. So, you know, just having a bit of a chat with him, and hopefully he can turn it around.
Try to psych him up a little bit for this next race. Would that be a fair assumption?
Yeah, you know, to go out there and do what he did at the A-Tower, you know, he's definitely still got the talent, so, you know, he just needs to relax and enjoy himself.
What do you put it down to? Because it seems to be a recurring thing with Keogh. We were expecting him to come back from Suzuka and have pressed the switch, you know, and just raise his game like he has done in the past. But what do you put it down to, personally?
You know, for me, it's all about confidence, and it's all about being happy. And, you know, if you're not happy and you're not confident, then, you know, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen for you. Little crashes, little moments, and it's an ongoing effect. And, you know, Keogh's there right now, and, you know, every race that goes through it, I've been through it, and it's how you come through it and learn from it, you know, so it doesn't happen again. And it's maintaining that confidence and you know, the belief.